think it's in better days.
Gents, drink?
Phelps and Galloway, LAPD.
I'm Benny Clough. This about Teresa Terrellson?
Yes, it is.
I heard about it on the radio. They're saying it was that Black Dahlia freak again? God damn it. Yeah, I rang that husband of hers. The babysitter said he was out.
If you don't mind, we have a few questions. What time did Teresa leave?
Around 10:30, I think.
On foot? In a car? By bus? How was it?
She called for a cab.
Did you get the number?
Sure I did. I like Teresa. The only time she has a drink is when things aren't going so good at home. I was worried about her.
My eggs were running.
Put out an APB on the cab. 3591. Should be traceable. Who was she with? We've had reports about a tall, gaunt-looking hobo. He wasn't here last night?
I get plenty of bums in here, but nothing to fit that description.
You've never served him?
Not a chance. By the sound of it, he's the type of bum you send packing right when he walks through the door.
Thank you for your help, Mr. Clough. We'll take it from here.
Hey, no problem.
Any of your regulars know the broad?
Ask him yourself.
LAPD. Keep your seats, boys. This won't take a second. We can't let the son of a bitch get away. Go, Phelps. Get after him. Come on. We got a ride. Get in and drive. I thought you were going to leave me there.
Who knows what this guy will pull when he's cornered? We could have a killer on our hands.
Come on, Phelps. You're letting this lust get away from you.
I don't think the killer would be kicking back in the bar where he met the Vic in.
Listen, a creature of habit is your killer. For some reason, they're sticklers for routine. He's showing you how it's done. Maybe you shouldn't have waited for me, Phelps. Don't go to sleep on me. Get me back in close. Let's end this farce.
All right, you got me. I've had enough.
Put your hands in the air! Name.
Richard Bates, what is it you want?
I'll ask the questions. Firstly, why did you run?
I don't mix with cops if I can help it.
Last night, you went drinking with a lady in the bar. Now she's dead, and your face is all messed up.
I'm in the clear on that. She preferred a sailor. You could lay it off on him. Are we finished?
Do you want my partner to sap you? Tell us what we want to know.
She was okay. Drunk. Pissed off at her old man, wanting to go dancing. I thought I'd ply her with a few drinks and get my end away. Looks like your Salty had the same idea.
So what happened when you left the bar?
Sailor boy laid one on me. A cheap shot. After that, I don't know.
I don't like it when you lie to me, Richard. You have the stink of the yardbird about you. What were you in for?
I have no idea what you're talking about. You got anything that says I done time?
You don't ask, you never find out. You've done time, haven't you, Richard? Is that why you ran?
I'm on parole.
On what offense?
Sexual assault. Look, I was lying there on the sidewalk. He flags a cab and jumps in with the broad.
We're taking you in, Bates.
How come?
Just for a chat. Nice private chat. I'll explain my theory of once a degenerate, always a degenerate.
Take him to Central. He's a material witness in a murder case. Find him a cozy cell.
Richard here knows the drill. That's the cop from the newspapers. Isn't that the cop?
Operator, give me R&I.
Putting you through now.
Phelps, badge 1247.
How can I help, Detective?
I need an APB out on a yellow cab, number 3591. Ask dispatch to relay all sightings to car 11K.
No problem. I'll get on the radio.
Were there any incident reports filed in the vicinity of Barron's Bar on North Beaudry Avenue? We're tracking a sailor who was involved in a fight outside the bar.
I can check the reports, Detective. I have a message for you from Captain Donnelly. Message reads, James Jessup, U.S. Navy able seaman, has information relevant to your case. Jessup is currently being detained at Central Station.
Could be our man. Thanks.
Broad has socks.
Goddamn.
You know the way. You can drive.
Fine. Where are we headed?
He's in interview 2.
Thanks. What do you make of him?
Sailor on furlough who looks like he's in trouble and knows it.
Over here, Rusty.
Keep your shirt on. I'm coming. Be indecisive.
Detectives Phelps and Galloway. We know why you're here, Jessup, so it would be best if you answered our questions truthfully.
I don't want any trouble. That's why I'm here. I heard on the radio about this lady getting killed. I got leave from my CO to come down straight away.
So why did you kill her?
I didn't kill anyone. Look, you need to believe me.
Let's start at the beginning. You went to Barron's Bar. What time did you arrive?
I got a 24-hour pass. I got there around 7.
That's where you met Teresa Terrellson?
Sure. We had a couple of drinks.
You're lying to me, Jessup. I think you weren't having much luck and you decided to take it out on Mrs. Terrellson.
That's not true. What makes you think I wanted to hurt her?
It's nothing personal. I'm just doing my job. You understand that? And you started talking.
She looked good in her green dress. Up close, she was a little older than I thought, but like I said, I only had a 24-hour pass.
You had a fist fight with Richard Bates over Mrs. Terrellson.
You met the guy? He's a creep. You should take a look at him for this.
He's pointing the finger directly at you, Jessup.
I only had one night before I was back in the tub. He had all the time in the world to look for some action. I belted him. I'd do it again. She was better off with me.
Sure. You're a shining example of chivalry, Jessup. If your story doesn't check out, Jessup, we're hanging you out to dry. Can you put the guy in two in a cell and inform the commander?
Sure, Detective. Got a message for you. Sighting of your disfigured hobo on Grand between Temple and Sunset. And it looks like the Beau has a record, too. He's wanted in connection with 2 female assault.
Thanks. You drive. I need to go over the case notes.
And where exactly are we going? Three suspects in the can and one on the hoof. And still no hard evidence on any of them.
KGPL to car 11K. 11K, come in.
11K, go ahead.
Patrolman reporting that Bobby Ross's car game is breaking up at midnight.
11K, roger that. Plenty of time to get downtown, Cole.
It's possible. Have them bring him in.
KGPL, could we have Lars Terrellson picked up?
11K, roger.
LAPD, we'd like a word with you.
Save it for someone who's interested. They're fascists. Come to move us on and steal what little we have left.
6 rounds won't get us far. I need you to stay copacetic. We need to hold out to the cavalry line.
How do we do that?
Like this. Must keep him down, Phelps.
Your disciples know what you did last night?
We need to fight for it!
These men know they're harboring a murderer?
Get that disfigured son of a bitch and the rest of his acolytes, Phelps.
What's your name?
Comrade Stalin.
Very funny. We'll find out from your personal effects.
Stuart Ackerman.
You're under suspicion for murder, Ackerman. We're taking you downtown.
You can't do anything more to me than what the Japanese have already done.
The Kremlin's over here, Phelps. Toss it, see what you find.
Still working, Jack. I'm off to the Lighthouse Club in Santa Monica.
Hello, Jack.
Mr. Benson, this is Courtney Sheldon. He's a buddy of mine from the war.
Well, I'm sure you two will want to polish some old war stories. Good evening, Jack. Mr. Sheldon.
Good night, sir. Take a seat, Courtney.
We need your help, Jack.
I told you I would have nothing to do with that.
I'm fine too, Jack. Medical school's going well. I got a part-time job.
Do dope peddlers need part-time jobs?
We made a mistake and we're in trouble, Jack. A local gangster, Mickey Cohen, is putting on the squeeze.
So hand it over, walk away. What's stopping you?
We had a deal with them that they would dole it out slowly. They said they would supply abortion clinics and doctors, but they've been moving it on to addicts, and they can't cope with the purity.
So your problem is with gangsters being dishonest?
My problem is that people are dying, and that if this gets back to us, we'll all end up in jail.
So how am I supposed to help, Courtney? This isn't the war. I can't just wave a magic wand and clean up your mess.
We want you to negotiate, Jack.
The only thing these guys understand is force, Sheldon. They got to the top back east by proving to be more vicious than the English, the Irish, and the Dutch. They make their own laws. That's the nature of a secret society. God's sake, Courtney, you want to be a doctor. How can you fight with that?
We are better trained, Jack.
I didn't make it through the war to come back to this kind of shit, Sheldon.
Looks familiar. Safe bet it'll match the mark under Teresa Terreldson's chin. Ackerman doesn't look like much of a dancer. Doesn't appear to be connected.
You can drive. Fine. Where are we headed?
The husband has an alibi, but no real motive other than neglect. Jessup's alibi checks out. Bates is a recidivist. He'll be pulling the same stick until we put him away for good. Ackerman has history, opportunity, hard evidence. What motive?
We have the evidence. We know she was here. All we need is a confession, and we can charge the bum with murder. We're going this way.
Ackerman, you were in the Marines.
How do you know?
The Corps selected big guys for flamethrower duty. That's how you got the burns.
Life expectancy was 5 minutes for a guy in flamethrower detail. What kind of a government puts weight like that on a man's shoulders?
You'll get no argument from me. It was a heavy load.
You feeling sorry for this smelly fuck?
Why did you kill Mrs. Terrellson?
I have no recollection of the people I have killed.
Are you denying that you strangled Mrs. Terrellson with a length of rope?
I'm not denying anything. You have to have proof, lackey.
We found a matching piece of rope in your lean-to. I think we'll find the blood will match too.
I own no property. How could it belong to me?
A bus driver dropped Mrs. Terrellson near your camp around 2 a.m. Why did you take her up to the hill?
Which hill? I have many places. I go where I please.
You are clearly insane, Ackerman. The state of California does not execute mental patients.
I don't know the names of the women I've killed, but I've killed many of them. Their necks are so fragile.
Stuart Ackerman, I am charging you with the murder of Teresa Terrellson.
A man down on his luck I can abide. But a filthy red who chooses to live outside the rules of society, I cannot stomach. Maybe poor Teresa Terrellson will provide the catalyst we need. I've spoken to the chief and the mayor, and I think it's time we send some men in to remove the godless and send them on their way over the county line. A grand day that will be, gentlemen. And a grand result you have brought me. You two are fast becoming my finest crusaders.
And now my heart's a blazing ruin. You say that you were only fooling. Don't walk away. Don't do me wrong. Don't leave me singing this torched song when I'm burning.
Of course we will look into it. Yes, I'm aware that it's an election year. Keep a hold of your hat, Counselor. Now is not the time to lose your nerve. It would appear that someone has hocked a rose gold wedding ring, a matching engagement ring. Sound familiar?
Deirdre Muller.
Press the pawnbroker and see what you can find out. The address is 348 South Main Street. The Muller case goes before the grand jury next week, and the DA does not want any egg on his face. Then get out to the railroad depot on Santa Fe Avenue. We have another poor unfortunate found this morning beside a railroad line. 40-year-old white woman.
Right, Skipper.
I'm gonna make him take
Another
me to the
body.
pictures tonight.
And Deirdre Muller's ring. The Emperor may soon have to come to terms with the fact that he's wearing no clothes.
Exactly did you get that book of riddles shoved up your ass, Phelps? Is that what your old man paid college tuition for?
You're behind the wheel.
And where exactly are we going?
You've got to admit, this is looking odd.
Anyone could pawn a ring.
But if you take it along with all of the other indicators...
Cole, Hugo Moeller was identified by the school's groundkeeper. He's our guy.
Witnesses have fingered the wrong guy before.
He ran, for God's sakes.
And he always maintained he was set up.
How can I help you boys?
Detectives Phelps and Galloway, LAPD. You have a rose gold wedding and engagement ring?
David Bremner. Am I going to get something for this pledge? Gave that bum money, now you guys are going to leave me short.
How much did you give him?
$50?
Try another number.
20?
Try 10. Feel lucky you're getting it.
I have the rings right here.
What's this mark here?
Maker's mark. Usually traceable. That one came from Hartfield's Jewelry down on Broadway.
Thanks for the tip. Does this mark mean anything?
Hallmark. Gives you an idea of the quality.
What have you got on the guy who brought these in?
Goes by the name of Percy B. Shelley. Gave an address. 15 Poland Street, London, Tulare County.
Can you give us a description of the man who pawned these rings?
Not sure. Medium height, medium build. Dark hair, I think. Sorry. He just had one of those forgettable faces.
We'll be in touch, Mr. Bremner. Can you drive to this one?
Fine. Where are we headed?
We have a problem.
We could have the local troopers check out the Tulare County address.
The address is bogus. Perp is having fun with us. The guy who's been sending the Dahlia letters is also the guy who pawned these rings.
How do you figure that one?
Percy Bysshe Shelley wrote the poem that came with the Dahlia letter. If the Dahlia letters are genuine, then the man who killed Elizabeth Short may have also killed Deirdre Muller.
And how do we prove that, Phelps? Skipper ain't gonna like this one bit.
We're gonna have to rely on this guy tripping up on his own vanity.
You boys ready? Follow me.
We should keep this development with the rings under our hat until we speak with the captain.
We're all on the same team, Rusty.
Chain of command, Phelps. The skipper will decide who needs to know. Got it?
I get it, Rusty. I just don't like it. Hard, isn't it?
Yeah. I look after all the rail depots.
What have you got?
The Negro, Nelson Gaines, called it in. I came down here to make sure him and the other guy, Jameson, stuck around.
Jameson found the body?
Something like that. Guy makes me sick.
We'll talk to the coroner. Keep an eye on both of them. Detective Phelps and Galloway, homicide. Can you tell me exactly what happened?
We were shutting cars over to the main line when I saw this man here lying on top of this woman. The woman wasn't moving and seemed to be in a bad way.
What time was this?
About 7:30 this morning, sir.
Thanks for your help. Have you given Patrolman Hart your details?
I have, sir.
Thank you. You can go now. Someone was trying to get her to come home. We could go over to the lot and see what they know about her.
That's going to be difficult, Cole. Keystone Studio lot closed back in 41.
Maybe someone at Mensch's will remember her. This is a chit for personal items, not booze. It's an angle worth investigating.
Hope you know what you're looking for.
What are you thinking, Ray?
The city keeps tossing us dead bodies. We're just running to catch up.
Smell?
Very good. There is the usual evacuation smell, but it appears she's been living rough for quite some time.
Very strong smell of alcohol.
Well, the autopsy will tell, but I would assume that she was inebriated.
Another missing ring.
Certainly seems I've been swabbing a lot of bare fingers recently.
Can you be more exact about the time of death?
No later than 2 a.m. The state the body was in, a 1 or 2 hour window is the best I can do.
What have we got here?
White female, approximately 40 years of age, lipstick smudges on the face, but no writing, at least nothing legible. A blunt force trauma to the temple, nose, and eye regions. Ligature marks point to the probable cause of death being strangulation.
Any idea of the time of death?
From her temperature, after midnight would be my guess.
Detective Phelps, LAPD homicide.
John Ferdinand Jameson.
We need you to answer some questions, John.
If you don't mind, I prefer Ferdinand.
Don't push your luck, knucklehead.
What were you doing to the body, Ferdinand?
Are you sure you won't be upset?
Try me, Ferdinand.
I was kissing her. It's not against the law.
Shut up.
There's no
Take
law
your
against
beating
it.
like a man.
Turn out your pockets, Ferdinand. Classic Carmine. Is this yours, Ferdinand?
No. I found it near her purse. I thought she could use some lipstick.
Rusty, stop! Don't hit him. You went through her purse?
It wasn't like she needed it. I took a look.
You found her lipstick. What did you write on her body?
What are you talking about? I didn't write anything.
You found the body?
Yes, I did. I work here. I was coming off shift and headed home.
You're lying, Jameson. I think you lured this poor woman out here and killed her.
You're crazy. What makes you say I killed her?
You're off the hook. For now. You just came across the body.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
You're under arrest, Jameson. We'll see how this plays out. Until then, you can think a little on how you'd like to be treated if you were found dead.
I'm telling you, it's not illegal. Me and some friends of mine...
Clyde, you get this sack of shit into a cell. I'll deal with him later.
Sure, Rusty.
Phelps, 1247.
How could I help, Detective?
I need an address on Levine's Liquor. Closest store to the Santa Fe Avenue rail yard, if possible.
Just a moment, Detective. Closest store would be the one at 939 South Hope Street.
Thanks for your help.
You know the way. You can drive.
And where exactly are we going? Read that those goddamn Chinese want to sell the relief food that we're sending them?
Yeah. Yeah, I read about that.
Those people are starving. They can't do that.
Want to sell the food to fund the civil war against the communists.
Really? I guess that's okay then.
Armies can't fight without food. You spend all your money on weapons, but you still have to have the will to fight. Fortunately, the Reds will win in China.
Watch your mouth. You know what you're saying?
The people of this country overthrew a king. You think the Chinese will balk at an emperor if they are starving?
Drink, fellas.
Phelps, Galloway, homicide. We need to ask you some questions concerning Evelyn Summers.
I'm Walter Mensch. Evelyn Summers, what is it now?
You knew Evelyn?
As well as I wanted to know Evelyn. She's a pain in the ass, always coming in here, cadging drinks, never had any money. She was in just a couple of nights ago.
Did she ever tell you where she was staying?
I don't know. She was living rough. She had that kind of stunk about her.
Who did she drink with?
A bunch of these guys. Ask around.
You a friend of Evelyn Summers?
Who's asking?
Very cute. You know who's asking.
I know my rights. You don't have any. Answer the question. Evelyn mooches for drinks. I don't have any time for that.
Was that so hard?
Keep writing me, copper.
What's your name?
Grosvenor McCaffrey.
Mind if I ask you some questions, Mr. McCaffrey?
I'm just a starving writer, Detective. What do you want to ask about?
Evelyn Summers, and why she was found beaten and strangled in the rail depot on Santa Fe.
Okay. I see your point.
How well did you know her?
I can't say that I knew her. It was more like I was aware of her.
Did you see Evelyn last night?
No. I was at home. Writing.
I think you're lying, McCaffrey. You saw Evelyn last night.
Unless you're some kind of oracle, I think you're going to have a hard time proving that, Detective. I've been helpful. I think it's time you and your colleague ran along.
Do you have a criminal record, Mr. McCaffrey?
Nothing serious. I've had a few skirmishes.
How about murder, McCaffrey? You ever been involved in a murder before?
If I'm carrying the mark of Cain, you're going to need something to prove it, Detective.
Sorry. Sometimes you have to shake the tree to see what falls out.
You guys got somewhere you need to be? You're ruining the ambiance.
Do you want to save me some time, or do you want me to look up your file?
Industrial disputes, strikes, workers' rights, that kind of thing.
A regular fifth columnist. Nice to meet you, comrade.
McCaffrey, we're not finished with you. You had your chance to cooperate.
You're free to speak to the regulars. Just don't shake them too hard.
You're behind the wheel.
Fine. Where are we headed?
Any ideas?
I say we try the liquor store next. I could get a short dog for the car.
You can drive.
And where exactly are we going?
What did you make of McCaffrey?
There'll come a day, and it's coming very soon. We'll run him and the rest of his pinko buddies out of Los Angeles.
I meant as a suspect, Rusty.
What can I do for you?
LAPD, Phelps and Galloway. We're making inquiries into the murder of Evelyn Summers.
Evelyn? She's dead?
You knew Evelyn Summers, Mr.
Robbins. Yes, I knew Evelyn. I was a good friend of her ex-husband. She kept some of her stuff here.
Can you show us, please?
Sure. Come this way.
Double time, Rusty.
Hold on, I'm coming. You got some fine stock here, Mr. Robbins. You know, you let us take some for the road, this case might get solved a lot quicker.
He's joking, Mr. Robbins.
She kept a bed here, but I probably shouldn't have let her. An alcoholic in a liquor store. That was never going to work out, was it?
She wasn't always such a loner. Evelyn was reading Aristotle?
Evelyn wasn't stupid. The only stupid thing about her was her need to drink.
And she was borrowing books from Grosvenor McCaffrey. I'm guessing Evelyn hadn't held down a job for quite some time before she was killed. Rawlings Bowling Alley. Maybe Evelyn did something other than drink in her spare time.
Rawlings. I know that place. Corner of 9th and Grand. A lot of cops bowl there on Tuesday nights.
When exactly did Evelyn work in the pictures?
A few years ago. She worked in legal copyrights for music.
We're trying to account for Evelyn's movements yesterday.
She came by in the morning.
A social visit? To pick up some of her things?
She had a couple of bucks and bought a quart of rye.
Any idea where the money came from?
She didn't mention it. But she did say the booze was a present for a boy. She said they had been fighting and she had to make it up to him.
Were you and Evelyn close, Mr. Robbins?
Not many people will be sad she's gone. I'll be one of the few.
We got the impression that Evelyn had been sleeping rough of late.
It became difficult for me to have her staying here. Her mother was trying to get her back on the straight and narrow. She's old now. And to be honest, you have to have a good reason to want to get back on.
Do you know a friend of Evelyn's by the name of McCaffrey?
Not personally.
We're struggling for leads, Robbins. Did she know McCaffrey?
She idolized him. From what I gather, the feeling was far from mutual. He seems to peddle a revolutionary stance, fixing the ills of society. You could see how it would appeal to down-and-outs like Evelyn.
Thanks for your help, Mr. Robbins.
No problem. Hey, I'd like to make arrangements for the funeral. You think I could get in touch with Evelyn's mother?
Put in a call to the watch commander at Central Station, Mr. Robbins. He'll be trying to reach the next of kin.
Thanks. Get the guy, huh? Evelyn never hurt anybody.
You drive. I need to go over the case notes.
Fine. Where are we headed?
Car 11K, car 11K.
Continue to respond, sir.
You say you barely knew Evelyn?
Yes, that is correct.
You're lying, McCaffrey. You looked down your nose at Evelyn, but you knew her, and you have some idea of what happened.
I hope you're holding aces. I'm telling you again, I barely knew the woman.
Why would you lend her your book on metaphysics if you only knew her in passing? It was more than that. A Renaissance man like yourself lending his books to his acolytes.
She hounded me about that goddamn book, and then she lifts it from my apartment and lies to my face that she didn't take it, as if she could even comprehend any of it. I saw her go into a hotel with Tiernan last night. They had booze in a paper bag. He's your man.
Thank you for the information, Mr. McCaffrey.
Can you drive to this one?
And where exactly are we going?
Hello, Rusty. 2 on your usual lane?
I'm Detective Phelps. Homicide.
You must be new. What's your shoe size?
We're conducting an investigation, ma'am. Do you know the name Evelyn Summers?
Sounds like I should. Oh, maybe it could be Jimmy's friend.
Jimmy?
James Tiernan. He's a pin setter. One day he introduced me to a lady after work. It stuck in my mind because she was much older, too old for him.
Where can we find Jimmy, Florence?
He'll be hopping around the lanes toward the back.
Thanks, ma'am. Let's go get him. Tiernan! LAPD! There!
What are you waiting for? Get after him!
We might go faster if we weren't carrying the extra weight. These are flashy cars to be parked outside a bowling alley.
The lanes attract a fast-living individual with money to burn.
Or a middle-aged individual with the need to feel virile.
I'll try to shoot out his tires. Wish me luck.
Another runner. Well, at least we've got a suspect.
Why do they always run? I'm sure we've got the wrong person in more than one of these homicides, but they always seem to lam it.
You know, your theories are not airtight by any means, Phelps.
If this isn't the killer, we can at least get him for reckless endangerment.
That's unless he runs into a wall and saves us all the trouble.
Phelps, you gotta get me closer. Hit him. Clean this asshole off the road.
Oh, looks like we're going into the tunnels.
Damn it, he'll kill himself.
It's all right, as long as he doesn't kill us, I'm okay with it. Oh, God, this kid's crazy. He's gonna kill us.
Now is not the time to play around, Phelps. Hit him, Cole. Spin him out.
Come on, Phelps, you're losing that little weasel.
Tiernan! LAPD! There!
What are you waiting for? Get after him!
We might go faster if we weren't carrying the extra weight. These are flashy cars to be parked outside a bowling alley.
The lanes attract a fast-living individual with money to burn, Cole.
Or a middle-aged individual with the need to feel virile.
Don't go to sleep on me. Get me back in close.
Another runner. Well, at least we've got a suspect.
Why do they always run? I'm sure we've got the wrong person in more than one of these homicides, but they always seem to lam it.
You know, your theories are not airtight by any means, Phelps.
Hit him, Cole. Spin him out.
If this isn't the killer, we can at least get him for reckless endangerment.
That's unless he runs into a wall and saves us all the trouble. He's going through the square.
Hope the people see him in time to get out of the way.
Keep it steady and I'll try to bust his tires.
What if they run because someone's setting them up? Because they feel like the deck is stacked against them?
Don't make up ridiculous stories for them, detective. Leave that to the perp's imagination.
Phelps!
That is the end of that. It's about fucking time. Whoa, looks like we're going into the tunnels.
God damn it, he'll kill himself.
It's all right, as long as he doesn't kill us. I'm okay with it.
Hands behind your head! You can drive.
Fine. Where are we headed?
The captain is downstairs with Ray Pinker and Carruthers.
They don't talk about other people. Did you read about the woman who stabbed her husband and then pushed him in front of the car?
What's this about, Captain?
Ray and Mal have some concerns over the Henry and Muller cases, which I don't want aired outside of this room.
The evidence is solid, Captain.
I agree, Rusty. It's just that corpses keep piling up.
Copycats.
I've been banging the same drum. But the notes and the lipstick messages.
Evelyn Summers, Cartel Classic Carmine. Each woman, same brand, same color.
Teresa Terrelson didn't have a lipstick message.
Technically, you're right, Rusty. She didn't have any lipstick. But she did have a message. We found it beneath her dress, scraped with a sharp stick.
What did it say?
You sure you want to know?
Ray?
As far as we can be sure, it said cunt BD.
That's one way of looking at it.
Looking at what?
Cunt is all about access, Phelps. You're married, so yours is mortgaged. Some of us like to pay by installments. This guy doesn't like to pay at all.
Why are you so angry, Mal?
Because I just had to fire one of my assistants. He was a friend of Jameson's. God knows what he might have been up to.
Captain, we have good leads in the Summers case, but it's up to you to decide how we proceed.
Keep this under your hat for now. And to follow up on Evelyn Summers, I want daily reports.
We got our orders. Back to the Summers case. Get an address for McCaffrey. He'll have blown the bar. I'll meet you outside.
I want to make homicide. I mean, you know you've made it if you got that death.
See him? Saw his picture in the paper. Worked that case with a lady cut up like the Dahlia. Are you liquored up?
Seems like a nice boy, putting all those hoodlums in jail. I knew it wasn't safe around here anymore.
One nice thing about egotists, they don't talk about other people. Hey, don't mind me.
This guy must have escaped from the loony bin. I don't need this.
I'm out of here.
Phelps, badge
I saw his
1247.
picture in the paper. He worked that case with that lady cut up like the Dahlia.
Detective?
I need an address for a Grosvenor McCaffrey.
Grosvenor McCaffrey. Apartment 6, 126 Yale Street, between Ord and Alpine.
Thanks, ma'am.
Extra, Rita!
You drive. I need to go over the case notes.
And where exactly are we going?
You know the way. You can drive.
Fine. Where are we headed?
Let me pose a question.
Depends. What's it got to do with?
Morals. Would it bother you to put the wrong person away?
Depends.
On what?
On whether anyone except the poor son of a bitch in the slammer ever found out.
McCaffrey is in apartment 6. Doesn't look like anybody's home.
Terrible shame. Means there's nobody to let us in. You want to do the honors, Phelps?
Torn from the letter we found beside the body. At the very least, I'd say it ties McCaffrey to the scene.
Maybe if... No.
He said he was at home. He said he didn't know her. And we have the book.
Let's see Carruthers argue his way out of this one.
Is that you, Grosvenor? Who are you guys? What are you doing in here?
We're from the LAPD, ma'am. Do you know where we might find McCaffrey?
I'm his neighbor. Is he in trouble?
Look, lady, we need to find him, and in a hurry. Are you going to give me trouble?
He has a pigeon coop up on the roof. He spends his mornings up there when he's been drinking.
How do we get up there?
Down the hall and up the stairs.
Drunk and in command of a carrier pigeon. Surely we can write him up for that. A citation, at least.
Circumstantial.
I doubt it.
That's that cop. Seems like a decent guy.
Grosvenor McCaffrey! Running on a hangover, McCaffrey? Sit down and we'll talk.
I'll go get our wheels.
You a runner, McCaffrey? Stay and fight the good fight. Give it up, LAPD!
Lock him up!
McCaffrey, you're under arrest on suspicion of murdering Evelyn Summers.
We need to get downtown and wrap this thing up. It's gotta be McCaffrey. Unless Tiernan set him up. You don't think that asshole Jameson could have done it, do you? Whoever did it. At least it wasn't that Dahlia fuck.
How do you know that McCaffrey didn't do the Dahlia?
We have a list of over 200 suspects. His name was never on it.
If you think the list is exhaustive, Rusty, who am I to argue?
Listen, let's just work the case at hand, shall we? Then we can sit down and put all the puzzle pieces together at a later date.
I'll hold you to that.
You sure you can make it stick with one of these suspects, gentlemen?
It's either McCaffrey or Tiernan, sir. I think Jameson is an aberration.
All right. I'll deal with that degraded lunatic myself. He's got some fearful retribution coming. Tiernan isn't one, McCaffrey isn't two. I want a confession from one of them. Don't fail me, young fellas.
I'm telling you, it'll never stick and you'll get roasted.
Why did you run, Tiernan?
I was the last one to see Evelyn that night. I knew you would think it was me.
Can you describe your relationship with Evelyn?
I barely knew Evelyn.
Is standing around saying nothing, is this some kind of mental torture?
Keep lying to me and I'll have you charged and in front of a grand jury before your feet touch the ground.
How can you possibly prove Evelyn and I were more than friends?
McCaffrey gave you up, Tiernan. He says he saw you go into your hotel with Evelyn.
I met Evelyn at the public library. We would read for a while and then go for a drink. Last night, we went back to my hotel room and had some more to drink. I must have passed out. I woke up and she was gone.
What time was this?
Around midnight, maybe later.
And there's no one who can confirm this?
No, there isn't. I knew you wouldn't believe me.
Aristotle's Metaphysics, the book that belonged to McCaffrey.
McCaffrey saw her looking at it once and laughed in her face.
And you're saying Evelyn stole it?
She wanted something of his.
You don't like McCaffrey, do you, Tiernan?
He's full of the common man routine, but he props up a bar like the rest of us. Evelyn thought he was going to be a great novelist. He had nothing but vitriol for her.
You and Evelyn were drinking together last night, and she had no other place to stay.
I don't know what happened last night. I don't remember. You should let me go now. I've done nothing wrong.
If you don't give me some reason to think differently about this, Tiernan, I'm gonna have to go to the DA.
I drank half a bottle of scotch. I don't remember a goddamn thing.
Do you own a car, Tiernan?
No, I don't.
Have access to a lug wrench?
We use a lot of them to clear jams in the pin setting machines.
I want the truth. I think you broke into McCaffrey's apartment and planted a lug wrench there.
I didn't do that, and there's no way you can prove any different. As hard as this is for you to contemplate, I really loved Evelyn. She was kind and gentle to me.
Evelyn was missing a ring from her right hand.
That's strange. She always wore it. A big black circular disc with a white E in the middle. It was made from an old typewriter key, a present from the prop department at her old movie studio.
We're going to talk to McCaffrey. You need to think about what you've told us, Tiernan. You're not in the clear.
Yeah, the bum took a swipe at me. Put him down with my sap.
I'm just praying the prints come through so I can nail
You
the
ready
son
to
of a
answer
bitch.
some questions?
You think I have all the answers?
People who run from the police usually have something to hide.
Touché, detective. Let's see where this takes us.
Evelyn died sometime around midnight. Remind me, where were you?
I was at home, writing. I'm working on a manuscript.
You're lying, McCaffrey. You were out at the rail yard.
And what do you have that proves I was there? You're going to have to do better than that, detective.
Operator, give me dispatch.
Putting you through now.
Phelps, 1247.
How can I help, Detective?
I need the jacket on a Grosvenor McCaffrey.
Just a moment, Detective. McCaffrey was formerly under surveillance by the Red Squad. Convictions for petty theft. Dishonorable discharge from the Army during training at Syracuse. Assault on a local woman. Says he almost beat the woman to death.
Thank you. You were in the war?
Yes, I was. Seeing the things that I saw. It changes a man. I came back here determined to change things. All I wanted was a pen and an opportunity to speak out.
You told us before that you had only minor run-ins with the police. You didn't mention petty theft.
I've never been in trouble for violence. That's the salient point here, isn't it?
You're lying, McCaffrey. You have a history of violence towards women.
How do you turn a couple parking tickets and a petty theft misdemeanor into an assault charge? No man should be without history, detective. Mine is colorful, but nothing more.
Why did you run, Tiernan?
I was the last one to see Evelyn that night. I knew you would think it was me.
Can you describe your relationship with Evelyn?
I barely knew Evelyn.
Keep lying to me and I'll have you charged and in front of a grand jury before your feet touch the ground.
How can you possibly prove Evelyn and I were more than friends?
McCaffrey gave you up, Tiernan. He says he saw you go into your hotel with Evelyn.
I met Evelyn at the public library. We would read for a while and then go for a drink. Last night, we went back to my hotel room and had some more to drink. I must have passed out. I woke up and she was gone.
What time was this?
Around midnight, maybe later.
And there's no one who can confirm this?
No, there isn't. I knew you wouldn't believe me.
Aristotle's Metaphysics, the book that belonged to McCaffrey.
McCaffrey saw her looking at her once and laughed in her face.
And you're saying Evelyn stole it?
She wanted something of his.
You don't like McCaffrey, do you, Tiernan?
He's full of the common man routine, but he props up a bar like the rest of us. Evelyn thought he was going to be a great novelist. And he had nothing but vitriol for her.
You and Evelyn were drinking together last night, and she had no other place to stay.
I don't know what happened last night. I don't remember.
If you don't give me some reason to think differently about this, Tiernan, I'm gonna have to go to the DA.
I drank half a bottle of scotch. I don't remember a goddamn thing.
Do you own a car, Tiernan?
No, I don't.
Have access to a lug wrench?
No, we use a lot of them to clear jams in the pin setting machines.
I want the truth. I think you broke into McCaffrey's apartment and planted a lug wrench there.
I didn't do that, and there's no way you can prove any different.
Sorry. My mistake. Evelyn was beaten to death with a lug wrench. We found a wrench at McCaffrey's apartment.
You see? It was McCaffrey. He had nothing but hatred for me and Evelyn.
Evelyn was missing a ring from her right hand.
That's strange. She always wore it. A big black circular disc with a white E in the middle. It was made from an old typewriter key, a present from the prop department at her old movie studio.
We're going to talk to McCaffrey. You need to think about what you've told us, Tiernan. You're not in the clear.
Mouthpiece tore strips off me at the grand jury. Case got thrown out.
You ready to answer some questions?
You think I have all the answers?
People who run from the police usually have something to hide.
Touché, detective. Let's see where this takes us.
Evelyn died sometime around midnight. Remind me, where were you?
I was at home, writing. I'm working on a manuscript.
And you have someone who can corroborate your story?
Unfortunately, no.
Operator, message for KGPL.
Putting you through now.
Nicole Phelps, badge 1247.
How can I help, Detective?
I need the jacket on a Grosvenor McCaffrey.
Just a moment, Detective. McCaffrey was formerly under surveillance by the Red Squad. Convictions for petty theft. Dishonorable discharge from the Army during training at Syracuse. Assault on a local woman. Says he almost beat the woman to death.
Thanks for your help. You were in the war?
Yes, I was. Seeing the things that I saw. It changes a man. I came back here determined to change things. All I wanted was a pen and an opportunity to speak out.
You told us before that you had only minor run-ins with the police. You didn't mention petty theft.
I've never been in trouble for violence. That's the salient point here, isn't it?
You're lying, McCaffrey. You have a history of violence towards women.
How do you turn a couple parking tickets and a petty theft misdemeanor into an assault charge? No man should be without history, Detective. Mine is colorful, but nothing more.
They weren't even his prints, and he still confessed.
We got a stakeout down on 2nd later tonight.
Seems like a nice boy, putting all those hoodlums in jail.
You ready to answer some questions?
You think I have all the answers?
People who run from the police usually have something to hide.
Touché, Detective. Let's see where this takes us.
Evelyn died sometime around midnight. Remind me, where were you?
I was at home, writing. I'm working on a manuscript.
You're gonna need to do better if you don't want to swing for this.
I was having a political meeting in my apartment.
Cheese and crackers for the 5th columnist.
Some of these people will corroborate your story.
I won't give up names of party members.
Good. It's your funeral.
Straight through the red light. Said she never saw it.
Why did you run, Tiernan?
I was the last one to see Evelyn that night. I knew you would think it was me.
Aristotle's Metaphysics, the book that belonged to McCaffrey.
McCaffrey saw her looking at her once and laughed in her face.
And you're saying Evelyn stole it?
She wanted something of his.
You don't like McCaffrey, do you, Tiernan?
He's full of the common man routine, but he props up a bar like the rest of us. Evelyn thought he was going to be a great novelist. And he had nothing but vitriol for her.
Can you describe your relationship with Evelyn?
I barely knew Evelyn.
Keep lying to me and I'll have you charged and in front of a grand jury before your feet touch the ground.
How can you possibly prove Evelyn and I were more than friends?
McCaffrey gave you up, Tiernan. He says he saw you go into your hotel with Evelyn.
I met Evelyn at the public library. We would read for a while and then go for a drink. Last night, we went back to my hotel room and had some more to drink. I must have passed out. I woke up and she was gone.
What time was this?
Around midnight, maybe later.
And there's no one who can confirm this?
No, there isn't. I knew you wouldn't believe me.
You and Evelyn were drinking together last night, and she had no other place to stay.
I don't know what happened last night. I don't remember.
You're lying, Tiernan. You'd been fighting with her. You fought, and...
I'm not lying! She got up and left! That was it! Don't talk about how it was between me and Evelyn. You don't know anything.
Do you own a car, Tiernan?
No, I don't.
Have access to a lug wrench?
Well, we use a lot of them to clear jams in the pin setting machines.
Coroner's report says that Evelyn was killed with a wrench. I think you did it and then planted the evidence at McCaffrey's apartment for us to find.
We went to his apartment. McCaffrey was up on the roof. Evelyn stole the book. McCaffrey went crazy when he found out. He said he would put her out of her misery. He can be very cruel.
Evelyn was missing a ring from her right hand.
That's strange. She always wore it. A big black circular disc with a white E in the middle. It was made from an old typewriter key, a present from the prop department at her old movie studio.
We're going to talk to McCaffrey. You need to think about what you've told us, Tiernan. You're not in the clear.
Door knocking all morning, but I got to make in the car in the end.
I'm stumped. Ideas?
Put the heat to one of them, Phelps. Your choice.
He's dull as dishwater. I'm not with him.
We found the lug wrench that Evelyn was battered with in your apartment, and the note from her mother, and your blood-stained clothing. We have you cold, McCaffrey.
You think if I could be bothered to murder Evelyn Summers, I would be stupid enough to leave the evidence in my apartment?
I don't believe you, Grosvenor. The evidence says that you killed her.
You can prove that I wanted to kill Evelyn?
Tiernan is prepared to testify that you threatened Evelyn's life in his presence.
Self-preservation. That's understandable. Okay, I'll level with you. Tiernan killed Evelyn. He came to me for help. I listened to him, and he explained why he did it.
Tiernan went to you for help. You expect me to buy that?
That's how it went down. I told him he made a terrible mistake, but he would be throwing his life away if he went to the cops. I took his things and told him I would dispose of them.
But you didn't.
Speak to Tiernan. He'll give it up.
Operator, give me R&I.
Putting you through now.
Phelps, 1247.
How could I help, Detective?
I need the jacket on a Grosvenor McCaffrey.
Just a moment, Detective. McCaffrey was formerly under surveillance by the Red Squad. Convictions for petty theft. Dishonorable discharge from the Army during training at Syracuse. Assault on a local woman. Says he almost beat the woman to death.
Thanks.
Straight through the red light. Said she never saw it.
You were in the war?
Yes, I was. Seeing the things that I saw, it changes a man. I came back here determined to change things. All I wanted was a pen and an opportunity to speak out.
You told us before that you had only minor run-ins with the police. You didn't mention petty theft.
I've never been in trouble for violence. That's the salient point here, isn't it?
You're lying, McCaffrey. You have a history of violence towards women.
How do you turn a couple parking tickets and a petty theft misdemeanor into an assault charge?
We know all about you and your dishonorable discharge, beating some poor woman near to death in Syracuse. You've never been in combat, McCaffrey. Your whole life is a fraud.
She was a goddamn peasant whore! She tried to steal from my wallet. I could have fought for this country. I could have...
You beat her because she stole from you. Because she tried to outsmart you.
The ignorant audacity of the bitch. What is a man supposed to do? Sit there and take it? How is a man supposed to call himself a man?
And Evelyn Summers, a poor, drunken nobody, stole your book.
And she got what was coming to her!
Grosvenor McCaffrey, I'm charging you with the murder of Evelyn Summers. She was a sad lady who never hurt anyone except herself. I hope God finds a way to forgive you.
Congratulations, boys. You bagged the fine catch. Another red to boot. Grand. Now, I want you to put this business about a repeat offender out of your mind. This McCaffrey creature shows no remorse. And neither will the grand jury. You would have to walk a long mile to find a better candidate for an unmarked plot in the prison graveyard.